what everyone was able to see was that the DOJ has no confidence in this case whatsoever.
We told you earlier in the week about the battle over New York City's congestion tolling program, the USDOT, giving New York until May 21st to end that program or else. And while we thought that might be it for new developments for about a month or so, we thought wrong. This one's a bit of a head-scratcher, and here to walk us through all of it is Tyson Fisher of Landline Magazine. Tyson, good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we had, again, the USDOT earlier this week basically saying that if New York City didn't end its congestion tolling program by May 21st, they'd be pulling approvals for projects, and it would kind of escalate from there. That's where we left this thing, again, just a few days ago. However, as we look at the legal process playing out here, we caught wind of a part of the strategy, I suppose, this week, accidentally, it seems. Walk us through exactly what happened here.
Very bizarre turn of events here. So on Wednesday night, so Wednesday, April 23rd, that night, the Department of Justice submitted a document to the docket, the public docket, and that document was private internal communications between the Department of Justice attorneys representing Duffy. It was a letter from them to the Department of Transportation senior trial attorney, basically stating we have no case. I mean, really, I'm paraphrasing it here. It's an 11-page letter, but essentially came down to, we don't have a case here.
Fraught with all sorts of problems.
All types of problems. Yeah. The thing is, again, this was a private internal communications between the DOJ and the DOT.
It was not meant to go out to everybody.
That was not supposed to be on the docket.
Right.
Someone royally screwed up on that. It was never supposed to be there. It was there overnight into the morning the next day. And then eventually the courts sealed it, but damage has been done. Journalists, and everyone else got it, and then now here we are. But the bottom line is this: what everyone was able to see was that the DOJ has no confidence in this case whatsoever as it stands. And so first you got to understand what Duffy's argument is. So back in February, he told New York to stop congestion pricing because congestion pricing is unlawful based on two reasons. The first one is that the program by which authorizes congestion pricing doesn't explicitly allow cordon pricing, which is what this is, congestion pricing, and it doesn't allow this type of tolling scheme that does not have a toll-free option. So you think about all the other toll roads you can go to, you can go around them.
Sure.
There's different routes. This doesn't offer that, therefore it's unlawful. So that was the first reason, and the second reason is because the toll rates are based on funding for the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and they're not based on relieving congestion, So the point of it being, congestion relief is secondary to the toll rate structure, whereas the MTA funding is the primary toll rate. They said that's not lawful either. The problem with both of those arguments is that in the statutes that authorizes this program, none of those are mentioned anywhere in it. And in this 11-page letter, the DOJ basically says just that. It's like, we kind of look to see if we can justify these claims, and we can't. And so we have to pivot. And then that's kind of what the letter states right there.
And the pivot, we basically learned that there are two paths that they are considering, and you kind of walked us through the one. The other path has to do with the Office of Management and Budget. It seems like that path they are recommending is maybe the easier glide path. However, that doesn't mean it's easy.
No. So It's really weird. I'm trying not to get too deep in the weeds, but the Office Management Budget, there's a regulation that allows agency to terminate a cooperative agreement, which is what the DOT is saying this congestion pricing thing is, right? Basically, if a new coming administration has a policy change, they can terminate. There's an easy path to terminating these cooperative agreements, but there's two problems here, which is this is technically not a cooperative agreement, although the DOT is making, again, some mental gymnastics here, playing with wording here, trying to justify that it is a cooperative agreement. Even if it is determined to be one, nowhere in this agreement is there a provision that allows for a termination of it. So they're going to have it's still going to be an uphill battle, not as steep of an uphill as their current pathway, but the DOJ is saying this is going to be the better route if we try this OMB regulation instead.
And we should mention, and you may have mentioned this as well, but the DOJ lawyers in this document that was sent to the DOT have been removed from the case, sidelined, according to the New York Times. So we'll have a new set of attorneys kind of looking at this. I guess my question here, and I don't think we know the answer to this because there have been so many twists and turns with this, and we're still not even sure what's going to happen on May 21st with the deadline there. But as we look at the path forward here, this document tells us, it would seem, that the USDOT doesn't have a very strong case. I'm sure they would say otherwise. But I guess the question is, from this, where are we going from here? What does the future look like for this entire congestion tolling program?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. We just don't know.
All right, we'll leave it there.
I've been covering court cases of all types for a long time. I've never seen anything like this. And so, I mean, I guess one could, say that it's not looking good as far as this court case goes. But then you also mentioned the May 21st deadline to end this, or else they'll pull funding and approval. That is outside of the courtroom. So they can still and probably will go that route. Now the problem with that is once they do, so once approval is not given or funding is pulled, New York will then challenge that in the courtroom, and so we'll have another whole set of legal challenges. I guess the easy answer to your question is we don't know, but the one thing we do know is it is going to be a mess moving forward.
It's going to be a
bigger mess than it has been.
Well, and I think it's safe to say too that we can probably be pretty confident, at least, that congestion tolling will remain in effect as this process plays out. New York, the governor has said we are not going to. We're not going to end this. It's going to continue. So, whether we see escalations from this, I mean, May 21st would signify an escalation. After that, I don't know what it looks like. Nobody knows what it looks like, but it seems like we're in for a long thing here, a long battle.
Expect to pay that toll in the foreseeable future is the way I will phrase it.
Yeah, up to $21.60, I think, for commercial vehicles going through there, vehicles that don't have a choice of whether or not they want to go through there in a lot of cases. Tyson, we really do appreciate you filling us in on this because there have been, again, so many twists and turns. It's complicated, but again, thanks to you for bringing some clarity to it.
Yeah, no worries.